Chapter 1. Before the Fall. There was a time before the Death Stranding. A world like ours. Technology advanced, cities grew dense and gleaming. Society, though fragmented, still clung to some thread of continuity. America was free at the edges, but it hadn't yet unraveled. The Department of Energy had already discovered Chiral, a new element with strange properties. It existed in minute traces, but scientists soon found it in fossils deep within the Earth's crust, suggesting it had been with us all along. They gave little thought to its connection with the afterlife. But then came the Extinction Entities, and the truth that Earth had always been a cradle of mass death. Chapter 2. The first signs, precursors of the Death Stranding. It began with whispers, a rise in near-death experiences, reports of people crossing over only to return with fragmented memories of another realm. The beach, the liminal plane, a boundary between life and death. No one knew why. More and more people were touching it. Then, the void outs. A single body, when consumed by a beach thing or BT, would trigger catastrophic antimatter-like explosion, annihilating entire cities with it. The world trembled, not from war, but from death itself, growing unstable. The dead had become dangerous. Chapter 3. The Death Stranding event. The moment of no return came without warning. A simultaneous collapse across continents. The veil between the worlds thinned. The living could now see what should not be seen. The BTs. Floating phantom-like entity, tethered by strands to the other side. Rain that aged anything it touched. Timefall became common. Chiralium spread through the atmosphere like a disease, and with it the extinction process accelerated. Mankind entered its sixth extinction, one not triggered by impact or fire, but by the collapse of the boundary between the living and the dead. This was the Death Stranding. Chapter 4. Fragmented states. The rise of isolation. Nations dissolved. Cities became bunkers. America, or what remained of it, splintered into disconnected enclaves. People lived underground, afraid of the BTs, afraid of exposure, and afraid of the world across dangerous open terrain, ghost-infested territory, and among them, a few possessed the Dooms. The Dooms syndrome, a heightened ability to sense or even interact with the beached thing. One of these porters would become legend. Chapter 5, Bridges and the UCA, a new attempt at unity. In the chaos, a group formed, Bridges, a private organization that sought to reconnect the continent, not with roads or armies, but with information, with a chiral network that could not transmit data instantaneously through the beach. They partnered with the newly rebranded United Cities of America, the UCA, hoping to rebuild a semblance of government. The leader was President Bridget Strand. Their secret weapon was the chiral network. But the network came with a price: chiral pollution, strange weather, and the risk of drawing the attention of extinction entities. Still, humanity had no choice: reconnection or extinction. Chapter 6, Sam's Path, the Reluctant Hero. Into this broken world walked Sam Porter Bridges, a man who wanted nothing to do with politics, nothing to do with people, and nothing to do with death, but fate and blood pulled him in anyway. When President Bridget died, her daughter, Amelie, had been on a westward expedition to reconnect the city, was captured by a group called Homo Demons. Government called on Sam, not just because he was a skilled porter, but because of something more. Because Amelie wasn't just his sister. The life and lore of Sam Porter Bridges. So, Chapter 1, A Child Born from Death. Sam was not born in the usual way. He was a repatriate, someone who could return to life after death, finding his soul again on the beach. His umbilical connection to the other side was literal. His mother, Bridget, was not just a politician. She was a vessel for an extinction entity. And Amelie was never fully of this world. Sam was a bridge from the start between the living and the dead, between humanity and extinction. Chapter 2, The Trauma of the Porter. Sam's early years were marked by abandonment and trauma. He was experimented on by Bridget, treated as a tool. He developed avoided human contact and delivered cargo with robotic precision. His only companions were the BB, bridge baby, infants extracted from still mothers used to detect BTs. But one BB changed everything. Subchapter 3, BB-28 and the Bond of Connection. BB-28 was just another tool until it wasn't. Over the course of his journey, Sam formed a bond with BB-28. Lou, a child in a pod with emotions, reactions, and presence. BB-28, Sam, named Lou, became more than a detector. It became the symbol of hope. Sam feared touch, would walk alone, but he began to care. He carried not just cargo, but connection. He crossed the continent, not for duty, but for Lou, and in doing so, began to change. Chapter 4, The Journey West, Rebuilding America. Sam's mission was simple in words, but almost impossible in scope. Walk across America and reconnect every major settlement to the Chiral network and save Amelie from captivity. But along the way, he faced Higgs, the self-proclaimed extinction messenger. Dead man, heart man, mama, fragile. People like him, broken yet necessary to connect the world. And Cliff, a spectral soldier with ties to his past and haunting memories from the battlefield. As he traveled, Sam unraveled not just the fate of the world, but the truth of his own origin, his connection to Amelie, his nature as a repatriate, and his purpose. And he began to understand that the Death Stranding was not just a disaster, it was a decision. Chapter 5, Amelie, the Beach, and the Choice. Amelie was not just his sister. She was the Extinction Entity itself, the being destined to end humanity. But she loved humans. She wanted them to choose their end, not have it forced upon them. Sam reached her on the beach, not with weapons, but with compassion. And in that final moment, she chose to postpone the extinction. Because Sam chose connection over isolation. He chose to carry, not to destroy. He chose the rope and not the stick. Chapter 6, A Return to Silence. world was reconnected, Sam disappeared from the spotlight. He let Lou go. He stopped walking. The world continued, rebuilt upon the invisible strands he had carried across the continent. But in the quiet, Sam remained. A porter, a father, a bridge. Extinction in Death Stranding is not framed as failure. It's a transition, a cycle. The Extinction Entities, or EE, are not invaders. They are shepherds. Their purpose is not cruelty. It isn't release. Each extinction marks the end of a dominant species, yes, but also the beginning of something new. Amelie is not an antagonist. She is inevitably made manifest, and Sam, the reluctant carrier of burdens, is the anomaly, the first to ask, what if we don't have to end? What if we change instead? The game never denies the cosmic wheel of extinction, but it poses a more human question. Can we matter in the space between the endings? Death Stranding, a philosophy of connection. Chapter 1, the weight of the individual. Sam walks alone, not by choice, but trauma. His fear of touch is more than a medical condition. It's a metaphor for a world that has grown afraid of connection. But in his solitude, he carries, and in carrying, he becomes necessary. Not a hero, not a soldier, merely a porter, a carrier of burdens. This choice reframes the idea of agency in storytelling. In most narratives, the hero fights. In Death Stranding, the hero delivers. He moves forwards, step by step, across broken terrain, not to dominate, but to connect. The message is quiet, yet profound. Every step taken in service of others is an act of defiance against the despair. Chapter 2, The Beach and the Soul. The beach is central, a place between worlds, a mirror of the subconscious. In Jungian terms, it is the collective unconscious, shaped by death, memory, and longing. Each person's beach is unique, an echo of their life, their regrets, their bonds. Yet all beaches are interconnected, forming a shared plane outside of time. Sam's journey through others' beaches is not just physical, it's spiritual. He confronts Cliff, a man torn from time and memory. He meets Hartman, who dies every 21 minutes, seeking a lost wife. He works alongside a mum, who shares a bond with a dead child. There are not just characters, they are expressions of grief or unfinished ties. Sam, the bridge, does not sever them, he acknowledges them. cargo in Death Stranding is sacred. It's not just loot, it's not excess, it's responsibility, a symbol of trust. When Sam picks up a delivery, he accepts more than a package. He accepts someone's hope that needs matter, that someone will come, that they are not alone in this world. Even the gameplay reflects this. Cargo is fragile, terrain is dangerous, balance must be maintained. You are rewarded for speed or violence, but for care. And in that care, we find the true heart of the game. Connection is not abstract. It's physical. It's slow. It's hard. But it's often worth it. Chapter 4. The Chiral Network. The Chiral Network promises instant data transfer, rebuilding civilization through the quantum strands of the beach. But what brings back is not just connection, it's overconnection, chiral pollution, temporal anomaly, spiritual noise. There's a warning here. Technology may connect us, but it cannot replace us. Face-to-face connection, shared suffering, walking beside one another, these may remain irreplaceable. In a time when everything is online, Death Stranding dares to say, carry it yourself. Walk. Look. Chapter 5. Lou. As mentioned, Lou is Sam's BB, bridge baby. Lou is the thread that binds this story into myth. A child unborn, trapped between worlds. An object of science, and forgotten by the war. But Sam names them, loves it, and in the end, lets him go. Lou is not a plot device. Lou represents a rebirth, a symbol that the next generation does not have to inherit the fear or isolation or the extinction. They can instead inherit the care and choice. This is where Sam's legacy ends.